Do you wanna just really quickly touch on this fraud Amish?
Yes. So there is a person on TikTok who called herself That Plain Girl. I think it was That Plain Girl. Her name is Sarah Joy. And she posted this really kind of troubling final video on TikTok where she sort of is looking off the side of the camera. It's about 40 seconds. And she says that this will be my last TikTok video. And, she made some sort of like apology to the community. I don't know. It
She's
was
like,
all
"I'm
very
really
vague.
sorry, like, for anyone I've hurt," and it's like,
What does that
"Oh,
mean?
okay."
What are you talking about? And people were very concerned, like her whole shtick is that she's Amish, although I don't think she's directly in video
She's
said,
Mennonite.
yeah, well, she's sort of
Like,
said
she's co
like she's one of the plain people.
Well,
And
no,
then,
plain is because she works at a plain store, and a
oh,
plain
right, yeah.
store is a place you can get I mean, it's quite literal, you can get very plain clothing there.
Yes, and it's a supermarché as well, isn't it? You can buy food goods there. Though she made a video where she's like hopping around the place. And in the comments section, she said that she's Amish, but not in the video. So it's all a bit confusing. Was she Mennonite? Was she Amish? Was she Amish? Was she Mennonite? Whatever. Some sort of one of those types. And then she made this final video, and people were really worried. People were really concerned because I think one of the things that she had said is that she had a hidden cell phone from which she was making these TikToks. And so people started sort of tweeting the police department saying, "Can we get a welfare check?" As people do on TikTok. And one of her
It's not a
childhood
bad
friends.
thought,
No, I mean, but it is a bit
but
like, I don't know.
like, why are you blowing up the Amish community, like, can you send all these police to the Amish community? Feels a little like yeah, you're right. I mean, also, if she's already worried for her goddamn life, the last thing she needs is the police there.
Yeah, I also think that there's an audience of people on TikTok and on the internet generally who are very predisposed to getting whipped into a frenzy at anything. Remember that YouTuber who was like looking off camera and then they were like, she's being held hostage and whatever.
Oh, Marina Joyce or
That's
whatever.
it, Marina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, I think everybody wants to feel like their comment or their intervention is going to make it into the Netflix documentary of a person's life. And I guess a program to see everything as like sinister and scary all the time. And that's not to say that, like, if you're concerned about someone's welfare, you shouldn't, make an intervention if you can. But, like, I don't know if the strangers on the internet riding in on a white horse is always the best course of action, especially when you're not in somebody's life and you may not be the person to take that course of action. I just think it's often premature. And I think, I don't know, people whip themselves into a frenzy about it. And yeah, as you said, if she was in any real danger, I think sending in like a shitload of police to a woman who's apparently been hiding a cell phone, probably not the best course of action either. But then a childhood friend by the name of Kenzie posted a bunch of videos in which she shows pictures of Sarah
She
growing
goes,
up.
"Bitch, if you're Amish, I'm Amish too."
Yeah. And she is not Amish in these pictures. There's like a screenshot of
She's
her.
not.
She's like her dad's getting a tattoo and she's like on FaceTime with her dad, or they find her old TikTok account where she's dressed in, very, very modern clothes, making I think
Yeah,
her what was her TikTok? It was called like something the patriarchy. Her TikTok handle was called something
I
like
didn't see that, but that's yeah, she's built different.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the name of the account. It was literally called something the patriarchy. So it was like, oh, that's surprising. I hadn't. Well, that's quite the whatever. And saying like this is a whole thing. Like she's basically cosplaying. Like she does work at this store and was advised to dress modestly working at the store, and then sort of enjoyed the cosplay element and then making the TikTok element and then just leaned into it pretty heavily. Some other people were saying she had converted, which was quite interesting
Yeah, I
because
'cause, like, they were, like, really there was people hand-wringing in the comments and being um, "You you don't know what's going on," and I was like, "Are you suggesting this bitch is late in life Amish?"
right, that those famous late late Amish converters, and also people were posting screenshots of comments where she was alluding to the religion being very restrictive and not like someone was saying, "Oh, you've sort of inspired me to live in a more sort of modest way," and she had said something like, "If you knew, you wouldn't want it," or something, sort of implying that it was not all it was not this idyllic thing that she was painting, and actually it was quite coercive and restrictive, which begs the question, why would one continue if you had converted to remain living in, to use your term, the lifestyle? And so
Mhm.
like there was a lot of shit that just wasn't adding up. And, somebody, I've posted a link to a woman called Jess, who she does bring some nuance to this kind of like to this discourse, talking about how there's kind of a spectrum potentially, and like people might fall on it, of just being in a high control religious group. I think that in this case, the simplest explanation might be that she got a job at the store. She was wearing the modest clothing. She started making TikToks. She got some clout and enjoyed it and enjoyed sort of cosplaying. And at some point knew she was going to be exposed, either got tipped off. And so decided to sort of try and make a peaceful exit and made it a little bit more uh, terrifying than it needed to be, and accidentally caused a bit of a shitstorm in the process.
So I saw this woman, I think is called like the Cliffs Notes girl or something, and she gives Cliffs Notes on various situations that pop up on TikTok.
Mhm.
And she said that I believe Sarah's family had been contacted and they essentially relayed this with like the permission for it to be public consumption, that Sarah is mentally ill and they're worried about her. Like, this isn't uncommon. She's not Amish.
Oh.
Like, yeah. And like this chick seemed like she had her shit together. She wasn't one of those people where you're like, I feel like you're putting out half baked shit. Like she
Mm.
seemed authoritative and was like, just so you know, someone did talk to her family. Like, we don't know what's going on with her, sort of thing, but they are worried about her. And this isn't
Wow.
highly unusual.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
she's not Amish.
I wish my brain was lit like I wish that was my type of mental illness, you know what I mean?
It seems
Like if I
fun.
was just lit, you know?
Yeah. As
I was
opposed
like,
to
I'm
like the
gonna
misery and sadness I feel most of the time.
yeah, like all the anxiety and like, obsessive thinking and like all that stuff. It would be great to put that to the side and be like, I'm gonna convince everyone on the internet I'm Amish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.